Hello and welcome back to the Hunter Call of the Wild. So today we're here for another tutorial, this time for the shot placement and how to drop every animal here in Layton Lake District with a weapon that's recommended for them. So if the animal recommendation is a weapon class 2, then we'll use a class 2 weapon and so on. But I've always kind of stayed away from making tutorial videos because I always felt like for those of you that don't need the tips, it's kind of irrelevant. But I kind of realized after doing the last one that it's kind of just a normal hunt if you don't need the tips, just with different commentary. So we are here on Layton Lake, and we're going to start with some of the easier species that require a lower tier weapon. So we'll start with the whitetail and blacktail deer. So whitetail are pretty easy to drop. You can just shoot them in the spine, and they will always drop on the spot. So we're just shooting this about 150 meters with the 243, and all you have to do is aim roughly an inch to 2 inches below the top of their back. If you shoot directly at the top of their back, you're going to shoot over the spine and just catch flesh, which is not good. But if you aim just below the top of the back, as we're doing here, and the rifle is zeroed for pretty much exactly the distance we're shooting, you can see that the deer does drop. So we'll go take a look at the vitals of the whitetail so we can actually see where the spine is. And as you can see, you can actually shoot above it, and that is, again, not what you want to do. You want to make sure you're low enough that you catch the spine and not just the flesh above it. Blacktail, of course, are just as easy, and we'll be doing the same thing. 243 to the spine will drop every blacktail in the game. Again, just aiming slightly below the top of the back, and as you can see, he just drops in his tracks. So once again, we're just going to look at the vitals so you can see everything. But with the 243, you can hit the neck as well on both whitetail and blacktail and drop them in their tracks. But the spine's a bit easier to hit on them, and it's more often that they'll actually be broadside than head on. Moving on to coyotes with the 223, because these guys are kind of an exception. You can make a double lung shot with the 223 as we're doing here on a coyote, and as you can see, the coyote does not drop. It'll run off for a bit, but when we go to actually collect him, we'll be able to see by looking at his vitals that we actually got both lungs, as I said, and it still does give 100% integrity bonus, but if you want to drop them, we'll still look at that as well. Coyotes tend to stop a lot when they're coming into a call, so if you aim just above their back, aiming at the center of their neck, you'll be able to drop them in their tracks by taking them through the neck bone. And the reason that I don't go for a spine shot with coyotes is because it's a very small target and very easy to miss, so if you aim high, you end up actually shooting either over them or into the flesh area above the spine. But if you go for the neck, if you end up high, you have a good chance of hitting the other neck bone or the brain, and if you go low, you're likely in the vitals. So it works out better to aim for the neck on coyotes, especially if they're facing you head on. Next, moving on to black bear. They can be a bit tough because they're a weapon class 2 animal, but they're rather large. So I've got the 4570 here, and as you can see, we've got this one just coming straight in, and a simple shot to the brain will take him down. You could also go neck bone there or even the spine. But since it was coming directly at me, it was easiest to just go for the brain since it stopped there. But the 3 organs that I mentioned will work for the black bear. But as you can see, we did take this guy directly through the brain. But if you don't have a color, it can be difficult to do that. So what I tend to do is just move around slowly in front of them, and eventually they will stand up when they get alerted to your presence. And when they do, just aim for the center of the chest, and you can drop them in their tracks. And basically, you're going for the spine or the heart. If you miss one, you'll likely hit the other. But as long as you're going center of the chest, in all likelihood, you will drop the bear in the tracks as we did here. Moving on to our weapon class 3 animal, the Roosevelt elk, probably the easiest animal to drop in my opinion because you can easily aim for the spine. It's not a hard collar to unlock, so you can often call them in. And as you can see, same deal, don't go directly at the top of the back, but just below it, and you can take them through the spine and drop them in their tracks. And looking at the vitals of the Roosevelt elk, you can see that there is an area once again above the spine that you can hit. So you have to be careful not to do that, but as I said, if you aim just below the top of the back, you'll catch them through the spine and drop them in their tracks. Another way to drop the Roosevelt elk is to take them through the neck as we're doing here. This one's facing directly away from us, so all we have to do is aim for the center of the neck, and as you can see, he did drop in his tracks, but often they will come in head on. They don't tend to trot around as much as other animals, so that's why I wanted to show this as well. Most of the other animals will trot around and you can get them broadside, but elk sometimes they'll come in straight on and then they'll turn around as this one did when they notice you if you can't get your shot off in time. So moving on to our biggest animal in the game, the weapon class 4 moose. A simple heart shot is actually all it takes to drop these, and as you can see, there is a lump in front of the front legs, and that's pretty much the heart. You want to stay just behind that lump as we do here for our shot. And as you can see, the moose drops in his tracks. So you want to stay just behind that lump because you can actually shoot in front of the heart if you aim at the front of that lump. So if you stay around the front half of that front leg, you'll hit him in the heart. As you can see, we actually caught the front of the heart there because the leg was forward, but when the leg is back is where you want to aim for the front half of the leg. And if you can't get a chance to aim at the heart of the moose, sometimes they just don't give you the opportunity. A spine shot will work just as well. As you can see here, we're going to go for the spine. Same thing, just below the top of the back. And as you can see, the moose is down its tracks. It looked like it ran away, but that was actually the other one that was with it. You can see that she's down just up there. And we can see by looking at the vitals of the moose that there is indeed a spine shot here, and she did indeed drop in her tracks. But you actually can shoot above the spine of the moose, and it doesn't look like it when you look at the vitals, but it is very possible to shoot above the spine. So make sure you stay an inch or two low on the animal, and you'll definitely catch the spine. If you shoot too low, more than likely you're going to hit the lungs anyway, so it's really not that big a deal. But if you shoot too high, obviously you're going to either hit that just flesh, or you're going to shoot right over the moose. So it's better to be a little bit too low than a little bit too high. So that is it for my tutorial on shot placement for the animals here in Layton Lake. If you enjoyed this, let me know if you want me to do one for Hirschfelden as well. And if you have any questions about what I did or what else you can do, leave them in the comments below. I'll try to get back to as many as I can. And with that, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did, and I'll see you in the next one.